talking to him yet or what?
Ralph's over here talking about the pot dealer that he met in South Beach. Just totally screwing up my video. Guys, welcome to Wager Talk, where we're always having a good time. I'm Kelly Stewart. At Ralph Michaels, at Ralph Michaels. No, Ralph Michaels at Cal Sports LV. Tony Finn at Finn at Wager Talk. Good grief. I'm changing that. Too many
I'm
ads.
adding one.
Okay, guys, it's the Final Four. I'm really excited. This actually is a game I'm really excited to watch. Michigan State -2.5 versus Tech. You have a great defense in Texas Tech and an offense that's really started to come together over the last couple of months versus Sparty, who I said was going to be my national champion, and I am absolutely pot committed on this team, and I'm terrified. I feel like I shouldn't bet this game. I have 7 of my 8 brackets outstanding, including my big money league, so I feel like I should just sit back and enjoy and watch this game, because if Sparty wins, I'm pretty much in. Ralph, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on this matchup?
I took Duke in my bracket, so I'm out.
You and 88% of the rest of the country.
But I had Sparty there
I had one Duke.
as my close, and I liked Sparty. And the one thing I want to bring out is for the next few days, we're going to hear about Izzo against new Final Four coaches, the other guys. So, but I will say this. First-year head coaches in the Final Four are 9-3-1 against the spread. So they have not been bad. So when you hear Izzo's got all the experience, well, you've played 4 games. The Red Raiders have been here. They advanced last year with Chris Beard, and they have the experience. So, again, throw that out the window that it's Izzo against Beard. But to me, I agree with Michigan State as the side, even moving forward, because they haven't played their best games, and they've won and covered. If you turn the ball over 22 times against Minnesota and beat them by 20, you're a championship team. If you only get to the free throw line 6 times against Duke and still beat Duke, you're a championship team. I mean, this is without Langford. This is without Ahern. Ahern got hurt the first game of the Big Ten championship. He's probably not back. But what you do have is you have the best point guard in basketball, Cassius Winston. You have a point guard who shoots over 40% from the three-point line. You have Matt McQuaid, another guard who shoots over 40%. That stretches the Texas Tech defense.
Do we see Nick Ward finally show up in this game?
I don't think you need to even have him.
He doesn't even matter.
I just think with Texas Tech having to extend their defense to cover multiple people that are 40-plus shooters on the three-point line, it's going to open up the middle. And then, I will say this, though, for Texas Tech. I also lean with the under, and people talk about Texas Tech being the #1 defense, and I mentioned this, on a pod with Marco this morning. 1 to 2 is quantifiable, 2 to 3 is quantifiable, but when you have the #1 team or number 353 team, like Texas is on defensive efficiency or like Virginia is on tempo, you don't have a ceiling or a floor. So 1 could actually be like a -5. You could be almost 6 spots better than the number 2 because you're #1 and you can't be better than 1.
Well, I kind of joked with them against Michigan. I said, we have the #1 defense, and you go, well, yeah, Michigan's #2. But we did see that Texas Tech was the better team.
Correct. And same thing with Virginia. Virginia's so slow that 353 is probably closer to 380, because of their tempo. Again, just as a comparison. So, the last thing on this game for me, as I keep talking, Tony, is I think the total's too high. I think you have so much public money in the March Madness, it's like the Super Bowl. Vegas's job is to put a total where they're getting equal money on both sides, and people think, oh my God, if they both score 65, it's going over the total.
Or if it goes into overtime like we've seen several times.
I am on the under. I made this almost 5 or 6 points lower when I made my number.
Wow. All right, Tony Finn, your thoughts on Sparty versus the Red Raiders?
I am the contrary to what you guys just outlined. I don't trust a team that's 6 deep or 1 Ward coming off the bench. It's a little different in longer commercials in the tournament, and the fact that you're playing on 5 days rest or 1 day rest, whatever the case may be. In this situation, I still believe this wholeheartedly, and I think Michigan State goes down to Texas Tech. And I think they go down because as Winston goes, so goes the Spartans. And if he doesn't have a game, Texas Tech is that balance.
So you think maybe
you could say the same thing about Culver.
I can say the same thing about Culver.
I do think Jarrett Culver is going to be the best player on the court.
Michigan State has more scores than Texas Tech does after Winston has more backup than Culver has backup.
If I have 10 darts to throw at a dartboard, which is what Texas Tech has, and you have 6, I'm betting on me.
Okay. So you like the better defense plus the points
I do.
here.
Listen, as being a Big 12 follower and a guy who has a lot of sources, a lot of.
I'm a Big 12 girl as well.
No, we both are.
I want Chris Beard to get a big-time job.
And I trust. Listen, if there's somebody that you trust in a big game, it's Izzo. But guess what? Don't overlook Chris Beard. This guy, this defense is the most difficult defense in college basketball to prepare for. He has 10 different variables of his. His block zone defense, what do you call it? It's man-to-man where they just sag. And if Michigan State doesn't hit three-pointers, they lose.
And either one of you guys can answer this question. It was tweeted to me, and I didn't have a quantifiable answer. So they're playing in a football stadium, right?
Yes, big difference.
Which you have been each of the last.
Right. And I mean, yeah. So these kids have played different arenas throughout the year, and I think it hurts them both equally. Do you put any stock into that maybe one team would benefit more than the other?
Well, I put stock in the fact that if you're shooting in the Carrier Dome, it's different than shooting in Allen Fieldhouse.
Okay.
It's just different. And you don't play in football stadiums or Carrier Domes for the most part to a large degree over the course of the year. So it makes a difference. But these guys are, this day and age and technical, they have ways of preparing teams that you didn't have 10 years ago. So give it whatever percentage you want. Everything matters. It doesn't matter.
Well, I think you look when they were playing their conference tournaments. They were playing at on-stadium,
yes,
on-campus sites. You go to the bigger NBA arenas, and teams struggled in the first half. I'm going to just bring up an example with the NIT. We're filming this on Wednesday. The NIT semis were last night. You saw both games fly under the total because you played home and neutrals. You went to Madison Square Garden. In the last 7 years in the NIT Final Fours, you're now 2-12 to the over, 2-12 to the under, right, including both games yesterday.
I did see that tweet.
So it's, you are playing. There is going to be adjustment. Perhaps the first half bet on the under, depending on how much they cut in each game when they are adjusting to those sight lines in the cavernous indoor arenas.
I like it. Great point there. $9 Monday at WagerTalk. You get all daily pick packages for Monday's action, plus any early college basketball, NHL, NBA, priced at only $9. That includes any 5% best bets, normally priced at $30.